so let's talk a little bit about finding your threads and what your next steps are as podcast editors. So it's important to remember that a good podcast producer or editor is an excellent listener. So today's lesson is really all about listening, specifically listening for your partner groups for threads. That's going to be 2 threads per partner. So you'll go back and you'll review all the audio tracks you and your partner created over the course of the last week. Of course, you should have used prompts and you should have added those to your planner. So again, a reminder just to show you the planner document, that was this. So partner 1, you should have linked in all of your short 45 to 90 second recordings, partner 2 over here. And again, you should have selected from this prompt menu. So it's time to go back to listen to those recordings and to be thinking from a thread perspective. So again, you'll be responsible for 4 threads. Those are going to become your 4 segments or chunks of information if you think about the conventions. So what you'll be doing is listening while you are keeping this menu of threads in mind. And remember, each partner takes 2. You don't want to repeat them within your partner group. So you've got an extensive list here of 10. You just need to find 4 that work. And obviously you can see there are some here that have links that you would need to consider. So today is a lot of listening time and a lot of gaining perspective time. So you're going to have the full lesson to do this. To select your threads based on what it is that you had to say over the course of the week. So you want to keep notes of which tracks and at which timings work for a thread. So that means if I'm looking again at my planner, at my partner planner, and I'm listening to say what partner 1 had to say on day 1, I want to take note of when and where I'm actually hearing them say things that are relevant to a thread. So you have this slide here to take notes, or of course you can do them with pen and paper. So I would write the thread here. I would write the track, which would be partner 1, day 1, and the timing then would be, maybe it's just the first 10 seconds, or maybe it's the last 30 seconds. If I take note here, that's going to make the editing process much easier. So voiceover you will add. You have another document in the slides. These are sentence starters to help you make connections. So you'll also have this printed out on your desk to help you out. So as you're listening to your recordings and as you're thinking about your threads, you might want to start using these sentence starters when you're thinking about the voiceover that you will add to give your audience a bit more context. Essentially what you're trying to do is bridge your recording, your reflective thinking, with those threads. Okay, step 2, divide and conquer. Again, each of you is just going to be responsible for 2 segments, that's 2 threads each, where, as I said, you're making connections between those initial recordings and the threads using the sentence starters that we just looked at. Together, you're going to do that pre-intro bumper. That's where you introduce the 4 threads you'll explore on the episode. So you've already created your introduction music. The pre-intro bumper just comes before that. Remember, the podcast should be 5 to 7 minutes long. So you have a lot of audio footage from the week, but you're not going to use all of it. You're just going to use what's relevant for your 4 threads. If you need some reminding on how to edit using GarageBand, I've linked in that tutorial for you as well. Okay, you and your partner are responsible then for producing that podcast by next Friday, that's March 15th, by the end of lesson, but you don't want to have to spend the full lesson editing because you're also going to get started on your digital portfolio post and reflection. So a good target for you would be to have roughly 50 to 60% of the editing done by today's end of lesson. That's Friday, March 8th. If you're not at that target of about 50% done, I would recommend you and your partner get together and spend a little bit of time before Friday, March 15th to continue working on your editing. Okay, good luck. I know that you're going to put together really engaging, interesting work. And again, to be able to do that, it's just important that you invest plenty of time listening closely, using the thread menu as your lens.